Thank you for joining today's webinar. The topic is reality capture services. What does it mean to you? In today's webinar, I'll be talking about the reality capture services that we have here at ATG USA. But you know what I've noticed is when I do a lot of like different sales calls and things like that for reality capture services, I noticed that some of our clients out there, they already have services. So today I'd like to start by explaining a little bit about what ATG does as a company as well. That way we sort of point out our differences. You know, our reality capture services may be fairly similar to another companies out there, but what our company does is probably a little bit different. So, you know, maybe you'll see something of value here on top of the services that would make you want to work with us more than another company. So let's get started. My name is David McQuillan. I am a senior reality capture specialist. I've been in the industry about 10 years using drones and LiDAR. And so my passion is basically creating digital twins. You know, I like to think that we use this technology and create reality in a digital format, and it sort of creates like a digital playground that we can manipulate and model and change things without really much consequence, right? Because it's just in a digital format. So a lot easier to do it ahead of time on the computer or with drawings or with modeling than just sort of making assumptions and doing it in real life, you know, through construction and then having to pay for that later on. So let's get going here. We're going to talk a little bit first about the history of our company, ATG USA. I'll let you read the slides there, but basically, company started as a computer company in Little Rock, Arkansas. Not too much later, we became a Autodesk reseller and then became a platinum partner. We started to acquire different companies in the United States, essentially expanding both our territory and our services and products offered. So we perform services and sell products nationwide as well. So we collaborate. We have a team-based approach and a true financial partnership. With the team-based approach, we understand that maybe the Autodesk is how we originally became, uh, how you know originally you became a customer of ours, and that's great. But we would like to keep you aware of all the other things that we have to offer, and so it may be just the seats of the software to be sold at first, but then you know maybe down the road we can be doing reality capture services for you. We could be doing production services. We could be selling you different types of software and trainings and things like that. So we really like to collaborate um, and discuss, you know, how we can help you out. And then with the financial partnership, we offer different financing options as well. So we have great support here at ATG USA. We have different people located across the country, so we can support calls and emails coming from 8 to 5, whether you're on the West Coast or the East Coast. Let's talk a little bit about our software partners here. So, like I said, we are a platinum partner for Autodesk. We're the largest AEC focused partner in North America. We also have global e-training, which is basically online training. It doesn't have to be just Autodesk products. We have other training offerings as well. Bluebeam, for those of you who use PDFs a lot, especially with plan sets, drawings, things like that, great ways to do markups and sharing. And Esri, As you probably know, Autodesk is the largest CAD platform out there, and then Esri is the largest GIS platform out there as well. So we have specialists ranging, pretty wide from either, CAD to GIS there. And then BIMbox, which is our computer hardware partner. And what makes these so special is that they are specifically designed and made with the AEC industries in mind. So you could be somebody who's using a software that's very visually intensive. We have that covered here with BIMbox. You could, you have a software that's very processing intensive. We have the hardware for that. And then if you're like us, who in the reality capture services, we have fairly large data sets. The computers have that handled as well. I think I maybe have 16 terabytes on my laptop. So all the techs here, no matter which department, uses BIMbox, either desktop or laptop. So great tool. I think generally speaking, if you're running some sort of software and that process is taking forever, that's kind of wasted time. So BIMbox is really important when you try to be as efficient as possible. So let's get into some of our services here. Custom course creation or training. So we can do in-person training, we can do online training. This is an example here. It looks like we are using drones. So this is a reality capture training. And there's an Autodesk software up there called Recap. So software or hardware, we have you covered. For an example like this, probably we'll use drones to collect the data, right? Well, we can use Recap Photo or Site Scan to process the data. We can put that deliverable into Recap for desktop, start to manipulate the point cloud a little bit, and then maybe move that into, InfraWorks, and do some different modeling and some different area, sitemap sort of work, and then maybe make a mesh of the digital terrain model, and then throw those contours into Civil 3D. So we can just in one small training example, we can train you on 5 different softwares, different hardware platforms. Yeah. Production services. So this is something that's pretty unique to us. We have dedicated teams for, let's say, Revit MEP or Revit architecture or civil projects. So if we're talking respects to reality capture services, we're a one-stop shop. We have teams dedicated to go out and collect the data. We'll process that data, get those deliverables to our modeling team. And then with the modeling team, they can deliver you the 3D models or the architectural plans, whatever you need. So basically from start to finish, we can handle that internally. Especially if you're a firm out there that doesn't have the staff to sort of take on that new stuff, or just has a project that's maybe just a little too big for your firm at that time. We're happy to help out whatever we can. So the laser scanning services, this is in respects to reality capture again. So this is just a quick example. I'm going to go ahead and just play a video explaining, basically one of the largest projects we've taken on.
When Jeff came to us and told us he was going to be registering 9,000 scans, kind of took him his word. Not many people were doing that many scans.
And so one of the biggest issues with scanning and bringing it into design software such as Revit or AutoCAD is they are very data heavy. Just for instance, I collected a total of 8 terabytes of information on this building. And that's never going to work when you go ahead and go and insert it into your design software. It's just too much for most machines out there to handle. Matter of fact, there's very few machines out there that could handle all that data at once.
One of the big requirements that Jeff had for us was to be able to have enough space on his system to actually hold and process those scans. 9,000 plus scans blew up to almost 7 terabytes of data. We were able to use one of our RAID drives, our X16 NVMe RAID drives, to get him an 8 terabytes drive going lightning fast to help register those scans. Additionally, when we were looking at that, one of the constraints that we're up against is Recap Pro only uses 40% of your system RAM. So we had to max that RAM out for 128 gigs to get him to have enough space to be able to crunch these data.
The BIM box made that possible, to you get that much data on one machine and to be able to manipulate and organize it into a usable format for a lesser computer.
Okay, so that was just a quick video explaining how we collaborate with our partners, Leica and Vimbox, in order to do some really large projects, really impressive stuff. Something that else that we'll do, beyond laser scanning with reality capture services, is our drone and UAV services as well. This is just a quick example of using it on a bridge, but oftentimes, maybe this is more an example of a civil project here. But oftentimes as well, we'll fly the drone in conjunction with the laser scanning project. So, we'll use it to get the roof or exterior site plans, basically extended out from the building that we just scanned on the inside. So, and then Leica Geosystems is our laser scanning hardware partner. So just wanted to do a couple quick things here. So one of the scanners that we use quite a bit is the BLK 360. We also use the RTC 360 and the BLK to go. So I'm just going to play some quick demo videos so you can see. Hi, I'm David McQuillan, Senior Specialist on ATG's Reality Capture team. Take a look at our footage from our recent Reality Capture demo day, where I take us through the hardware features of Leica's BLK 360 laser scanner.
So David's gonna, again, go start with the BLK 360 here.
Yeah, so here we have the Leica manufactured BLK 360. And what really makes the BLK 360 a great tool for the AEC industry is that it's the perfect blend between speed and efficiency while collecting and the data size that you're going to be getting out of it. Now we know in the AEC industry we're going to be wanting to put these point clouds or meshes into things like AutoCAD or Revit, and so this really allows for a very easy workflow. I'm going to go over some hardware first. So first we have here is our carrying case, protective case. I'm going to go ahead,
Righty tighty lefty loose.
there we go. Take this guy off. What I show you here first is our multiple cameras. So we have 3 cameras on this device. And with those cameras, we have the ability to use what's called HDR, or high dynamic range. And that really comes in handy, with something like a doorway scan, or the outside is going to be bright, but the inside is going to be dark. And so it's going to take, extra level of detail in those photographs.
So really what it's doing with those HDR images there, Dave, it's just taking multiple exposures of the same exact image, and then it's blending those together so that we can get we get the best of the dark space and the best of the highlighted space, but we can't do that with a single photo. A camera just can't do it. So it takes multiple exposures, combines them for that actual high dynamic range there. So we can actually see into the dark areas and the light areas at the same time.
Right, perfect. As well as, while this device spins, it's going to be taking panoramic images with those cameras as well. And so when we're in the software and the data later, we're going to have full spherical imagery, which is also very important when it comes to doing registration, which we'll show you here in a little bit. The next thing I want to point out, so we have the camera and we have flashlights actually. So, we found this to be really helpful while we're out in the field. Maybe you're in the basement or in the planning space, or even in the most recent project we had, a power went out. So just a really great tool there. It keeps you collecting data, even if your circumstances change, like the power outage, for example. Gotcha. Next up, I just want to show you real quick, battery port. So we just plug in the battery. Right there we have our serial number, and so that's going to become important later when we basically link this with the iPad.
So I know this has standard, takes standard photos. Does it have any sort of other sensors there as far as what kind of data it can capture?
It can actually capture thermal data as well, which is pretty interesting. And then, what you're going to be getting out of your point cloud is, it's a colorized point cloud because the photos are there. You're going to be getting, intensity values based on the LiDAR. And then you could also have your thermal colored point cloud as well. So pretty amazing things there. As you can see in the middle, the mirror will spin. That's our laser emitter. And this does, on a medium setting, which is really our preferred, for indoor spaces, it's only going to take about 2 minutes and 40 seconds per scan. So pretty quick, pretty efficient. Of course, you can turn off the photos, you can turn on the HDR photos, you can change the density, things like that. And I'll show you some of those settings when we connect it to the iPad here in a little bit. Now, something also to note with the speed and efficiency is if we did not have an iPad, we could just use this single button collection. And I'll show you that a little bit here, but for now I'm just going to use this to turn it on and connect to the iPad. So let's bring it over here to the tripod.
So we can scan though without using the iPad is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So here we have a standard tripod with an adapter. So you can have any sort of traditional standardized tripod out there. Doesn't need to be special or like a manufacturer or anything like that. So but it does come with this adapter. So I'm going to go ahead and just push it in. It's going to bring in the pins, line it up with the middle. Okay, now we know it's sturdy on there. Now you notice there's no bubble level on this tripod. And that's because there's actually an IMU, or an inertial measurement unit, inside this device. So really we just have to level this, just quickly with our eyes, and then it's going to take over the self-leveling internally. So again, just another one of those things to speed and efficiency that this device offers.
Right, and obviously a very small, compact, lightweight unit as well. So portability-wise, you're not lugging around a 20-pound scanner or anything like that. Stick this in a duffel bag and you're good to go, and always going to have one of these on the job site as well.
Yeah, and we've used this, behind conduit, behind piping, sticking up through the ceiling into the plenum space. I mean, if you're trying to get, any sort of tight situation.
Okay, so that was a quick example with the BLK 360. The next one is the RTC 360 video. I want to show you. Hi, I'm David McQuillan, a senior specialist on ATG's reality capture team. Take a look at our footage from our recent Reality Capture demo day, where Justin DeVore explains the RTC 360's technical capabilities and how to set up a scan.
RTC 360. This came out about a year and some change ago. So basically, it's very similar to the BOK 360 that Jeff was showcasing for us. And really, the improvement here is we're going to add a lot more range, and it's also a lot faster time on the scanners. Also, it does 2 million points per second. So if we're looking at a really high detailed mechanical room, this would be the tool I would bring to the job.
How's that point-wise? How's that compared to the BOK 360 then?
Yeah, so the BOK 360 on its very highest settings is going to be 360,000 points per second. That's where the name came from. And then the RTC 360 on its highest settings would be 2 million points per second. So as you can imagine, that many setups, we're going to have a lot denser point cloud, therefore a lot more data being stored on the device as well. So keep that in consideration. Make sure that the computer you have has enough room to be able to handle this kind of data. Right. So let's kind of go through this a little bit. So we can let me talk about the device real quick. So again, like the BOK 360, we have 3 sets of cameras on here, pointing down, pointing out, and then also one up above. Okay, so as this spins around, it's going to take our full 360-degree panoramic images. Okay? And then also the laser is going to spin out through the middle here. Okay? You also see a couple different cameras on here. Okay, see those over there?
Mm-hmm.
Now what these are for is for the Viz technology that is unique to the RTC. Basically what that is doing is it's knowing its place basically within your scanning location. So as I pick this up and move this around, those cameras turn on, and then as I set it down, it's going to know where it was last at. Okay.
So if I understand this correct, with these vision sensors here, really what it's doing is it's looking around its environment the entire time. It's identifying features and points just with the camera system.
Yes.
And then as it moves, it knows where it is relative to the last spot. Therefore, I don't have to go through any manual registration. It knows exactly where it is before it even scans.
Correct. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. Exactly. All right. And then also in here is where we got the battery storage. So again, with it doing a lot more range than the BOK 360, also with the 2 million points per second, it does chew through battery life a lot faster than the BOK 360. So that's going to be something that they can take in consideration as well. We also have this heads-up display here. So if I don't necessarily need to connect to an iPad, I can just run it all by pushing buttons here.
Okay.
But in this case, we're going to go ahead and connect to the iPad. Okay. So here I got my iPad set up, and I got the RTC 360 connected. I'm going to switch, and we're going to showcase Cyclone Field 360 right now, whereas Jeff earlier was showcasing the Recap Pro mobile.
Does the RTC run with Recap, or does it just run with Field 360?
It does not run with Recap. So the only Leica device that runs with Recap is the BOK 360. Okay, so on here we have a couple different options. We can change our settings, so I can put it on its low settings. Notice how the time updated to a minute. Or if we do its highest settings, again, 2 million points per second, now we're up to 3 minutes. So let's just do a medium settings. We can also change whether we want photos on or off. Notice how much time it's taken for the photos, so it's adding a minute for photos.
Okay. So if you don't do photos, you can do a full scan as little as 50 seconds there.
Exactly. Yep. And it'd be black and white images, but that if time is critical, that might be something to consider.
Oh, my points are just going to be grayscale?
Correct. Okay. Yep. And then this next option here, we got it has a number 2 here. So basically, if we hit in a high traffic area, You can turn that on, and what it's going to do is do two passes.
Okay.
So if any vehicles or people swing by in front of the scan, it's going to basically eliminate those from your scan. So you don't have to shut it down anytime somebody walks in front of your scanner. You could just turn on that and notice that the time is going to jump up to 3 minutes.
Gotcha.
So we'll go and turn that off. And we'll go ahead and hit play. So now it's going to orient itself and start spinning.
All right, so that was the RTC 360 there. Let's head back to the presentation. And I just put the pictures and specs up there, but let us know if those interest you. We are a Leica dealer as well as using them as services, so we are happy to sell, support, train, as well as run services with any of these devices here. Here's the PLK to go. I don't have a demo video for this one that I'm going to show, but generally speaking, it's a mobile scanner, so a little bit different. It doesn't have a tripod. You just hold it in your hand as you walk through the space. So very, very fast and efficient. Obviously, there's some things going to be like the densities and the photos aren't just going to be as high as quality as the other scanners, but if it's something where you just sort of want a floor plan out of it, or if it's a relatively smaller space, this is a perfect tool for getting some data really fast. Something else that we cover with Leica is their different softwares that they offer. So I just wanted to sort of briefly touch on each one of these. Cyclone Field 360, that's going to be your data collection software. So what you're going to be using on the iPad while you connect to the scanner. When you are back to the office from collecting that data, you're going to export that data and put it into Register 360. So what's really nice about Leica scanners is that the Field 360 app allows you to field register. And so when you throw it into Register 360, when you get back to the office, it's really just about double checking your work, making sure it's good, maybe doing some cleanup, and then of course all the different types of exports, data type exports that you can do from there. And one of those tools is the next one, which is Cyclone Enterprise. So of course, in Register 360, you can export as an RCP file type, which is going to work with your Autodesk products. You could export an LGS file type, which is going to work with other Leica software. And then if you have, let's say, CloudWorks a plugin for AutoCAD or Revit or Navisworks or a lot of other ones, those will be able to accept an LGS file as well. But back to Cyclone Enterprise, for example, this is a fairly new product, and what's going to be really cool about it is that basically instead of just working with trading these individual files, there'll be server hosting, and so you can just host that data on the server, provide somebody with a link, and then they can browse that data or download it from that link. So that'll be a really powerful tool, especially for those who are doing modeling. They can just sort of have a web page open instead of a whole other software in order to sort of poke around the data. Another sort of web-based option is TrueView Cloud. It's just a little more limited in the Cyclone Enterprise. I believe the option is just to sort of go through the photo or the photos at the scan positions. A little bit more limited on the data size as well, but still a great platform if you want to share your data through the web. Next one is Point Fuse, which is a really powerful tool for creating large meshes. So, let's say you scan the interior of a building or of a room or something like that, and you want to create, fine detailed meshes of the inside of that room. Point Fuse is a great tool for that. And then Cyclone 3DR, which is another tool that can be used for meshing. I would say Cyclone 3DR is kind of unique in that it just will accept a lot of different data types and then has a lot of really interesting specialized tools. You can run let's say like a tank analysis or a tunnel analysis to kind of see where the deformities are. So the idea being that you could scan a tank or a tunnel with with a laser scanning device. You have your point cloud, and then Cyclone 3DR will tell you where you have any dents or anything like that. I like to use it to basically manipulate drone data. I think it's really good at doing like surface cleanups. So if I'm trying to get that digital terrain model, clear of all the vehicles and the people and the construction materials and things like that, I use Cyclone 3DR to clean it up and then run a really great mesh and then export contours as well. So, like I said earlier with the production services team, we have Revit teams that basically do different types of specialized work, whether that's MEP or architectural, um, a lot of other examples as well. But that's kind of a general workflow. Maybe you put it into AutoCAD instead, or maybe you put the point cloud data, reality capture data into Revit. But I just want to show you a quick example of a house we did recently. Let's see if it'll load here. So those of you that may not be familiar with Revit or sort of what I mean by a 3D model, here's just a quick example. So here's a house we did. We went and scanned uh, and then brought the data back, and then our modeling team provided the model. And then of course, you can basically derive architectural plans or elevations or different profile views and things like that from the 3D model. Just show you a quick example here. So basically, this is a top-down view, or I kind of did a cut. But what we're seeing here is the exact column sizes, room sizes, door jamb sizes. So it's supposed to be an exact replica or digital twin, and that's the kind of quality you're going to get when you do the laser scanning ahead of time. Is there's no assumptions. Um, the thicknesses of your walls are going to be exactly what they are um, in reality. So even down to this elevator shaft that runs through the middle of this house here. But that concludes this presentation on sort of a little bit of what our reality capture services does at ATG USA, as well as what our company has to offer in other ways as well. So let us know if you're interested. Like I said, we are both a dealer for all this products, but we also run services and trainings and things like that. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and yeah, contact us at yatg@atgusa.com. Thank you.